Hey,
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, good. I forgot, Tanya said that she had a client tonight, and so we're just gonna do 7 o'clock.
Yeah, she sent the text that she's on her way home, and so she'll join in with us, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So what's on your mind? What do you want to talk about?
I know. That's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe somebody should choose a subject. I had a subject earlier this week, and then I lost it. I should
Hmm.
have written it down. Um, you talked about pettiness in the spiritual community last week. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? I want to talk about doing magic for yourself in a way. I mean, or just like let's like go over it.
Okay.
Because I've noticed a lot of practitioners, they do tons of magic for everybody else, but rarely do they do it for themselves. And there's like this stigma in certain groups where if you do magic for yourself, then it's kind of considered being selfish, or you're not supposed to use magic for yourself. And I completely disagree with that. I think if you have it in your power or you have the capability to do it, you should do magic if you want to help move forward in your life financially, open roads, all of that. And so I guess I'm just curious as to where did we get this? Sorry, I'm trying to work on my light thing. Dim it a little bit.
I'm in a forest anyway, so
Yeah, I need to dim it a little bit. So yeah, I feel like it got brighter. Lord, that
that's
might work a
good.
little bit.
That's good.
Um, where we got in this mindset, or where these people, or where people got the mindset that doing magic for yourself is a selfish thing.
I used to think that way when I very first started. I thought that way, but I don't think that way so much anymore. And it was
No,
because, well, I'm the type of person I would rather do for other people, and it's like I'm always doing and doing and doing for other people, and I don't do for myself.
mm-hmm.
But I guess it depends on what it is now. Now I've always done protection work, always, because heaven forbid anybody fuck with me or my kids, you know. But
Right.
then that's when you get into, let's say somebody does. Let's say somebody hurts your cat, hurts Sophie.
Mm-hmm.
You'd kill them. Are you?
Yeah, I lose my shit.
But I think the thing that we have to stop and realize is you need to wait 24 hours before you do something that you're emotional about. Say like love work. Well, I don't know. If somebody took Sophie or Lucifer, we might have to just go ahead and do it. But
Yeah, I'm like, at that point, it's free game.
now like with love or other things or just in general, when somebody makes you mad or pisses you off,
Mm-hmm.
wait 24 hours.
Well,
Because
that, yeah.
but I used to I used to not do money magic because I felt like I was being greedy if I did money magic.
But what gave you that mindset? Like, why would you think that was greedy? If you would do it for somebody else, why wouldn't you want to do it for yourself?
Because I feel like well, not anymore, but I felt like there were other people out there who needed it more than I did, which was total BS because I got bills I got to pay too. But, that was just how I was.
Yeah. I mean, I know when I first, and I realized, on my Calico Goddess page, it says, that Calico Goddess has been up for 2 years, but I've been doing this for a bit. But I'm still, in comparison to many other people, a newbie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a noob here. Because there's people who like grew up doing this. But you know, when I first really got into it, everybody was pushing the Wiccan read, which
Mm-hmm.
we all know. Everyone tends to try to push that. Oh, it's wrong. It'll come back to you 3 times 3. And they were also pushing the, don't do magic for yourself bit. And I was just like, why? What's the point of being able to do it if you can't even help yourself, right? And then of course somebody was like, well, on Charmed, even on Charmed, they say don't do magic for yourself because, all things could go wrong.
Yeah, but on Charms,
She could also float in the air and then do like 5 kicks. And I mean,
and have a baby with an angel and
yeah, I mean, so many things happened. And you're just like, really? And that's your reference is Charmed?
yeah.
Okay.
No, I just, it's kind of like, okay, we're in the middle of a pandemic and there's help out there for people, but people are not getting the help that they're being offered.
Right.
And so that's kind of the way that I felt was I didn't want the help because I felt like other people needed it and I didn't want to take away from other people. But now, I got bills and babies.
Yeah. You have to take care of yourself too. And I think that sometimes we get so caught up taking care of everybody else that the last person we think about is ourselves.
Yeah. Now, I don't do love magic, especially for myself. Because it's too emotional.
Holy shit. I keep getting it caught on things. Blinded me. But no, I'm listening.
My camera's sitting way up here. That's why I'm looking. It looks like I'm looking down. But I'm really looking right at you.
I'm like, that's okay. I'm like, I just don't get this lighting. Like, it seemed like it was fine. Like, before I hopped up here, now I'm like, what just happened to the lighting in my whole life now that I'm on Zoom? But it is what it is. Now I'm here, so.
You look tired.
Do I? I'm not tired, actually. It was a pretty bland day. It was pretty slow. And I've been working at home this week. But I've been like getting rid of a lot of things in, my house, packing up things that I don't need, packing up things that I'm going to take with me. And then the school gave me money. So I was like, yes, I'm going to sign up for classes, because it pays for more than 90% of the class pretty much. It pays for almost all of it. And now that I have this money and I want to sign up for this class, the class is full.
Oh, yeah. I think that's what a lot of people are running into. Even college students, like, they're having to get on wait lists and stuff.
And that's kind of where I'm at because it is a college. It's George Mason University that I'm trying to get into this class for. And I don't want to miss this money, but we're going to see what happens. But I'm definitely ready to just take this class and be done with it.
You will take it while you have the time.
Now that I have the time, and it's like you can't go anywhere, really.
Right.
So yeah, I want to take it now. Hi, Maricela. Hi, Nancy. If you guys have questions, please feel free to ask them. For sure. But so I'm just trying to get this class in while I have the time, and now I'm like, great. Now I have to write the registrar's office again.
Maybe
and
you
get this fixed. Yeah, I'm about to do the magic on it. Open my roads.
Yeah.
Seriously. But no, I'm not tired. It's been a pretty bland day. It's just I've been meditating and getting myself back into focus for what it is that I need. So that's kind of where I'm at.
No specific topic, Maricela. Just you can ask questions about whatever you want. We're not doing readings though. So, but
what about you? How was your day?
Well, it was kind of boring, and I took a 3-hour nap.
That's nice.
But I need to be packing and doing stuff and all that because tomorrow's trash day.
Well, sometimes you just need a nap.
Yeah.
A nap is usually when you just need a nap or your body forces you, it's because you need rest.
It's been happening more and more though. I think it's because it's almost like I don't have anything to do. But then I look around and it's like, Jesus Christ, I have a
Yes.
lot that I should be doing.
Yeah, but you know what? You have kids. You can have them do some stuff too.
What?
So I guess no, it doesn't work that way. Kids don't really do things right now.
Nothing. Even when I tell them to do something, they don't do it.
Really? You guys make me nervous to have kids.
It's
Hi, Tiffany. Your body is so tired. You think it's peril?
is it
Or
Perry?
I think it's Perry.
What's Perry? What's Perry?
Or do you think it's your period?
Oh,
Maybe.
it may be because didn't we just have a full moon?
Oh yeah. Well, if you use blood, it's a good time to collect it if you can.
Right.
I have a lot of nastar too. Nastar. Does the plant have magical uses? Oh, perimenopause. Got it.
Nestorium. I know we use that in RuneScape.
I've never used nasturtium.
Me either. But I mean, on the video game, we can make potions and stuff with it. Let me see.
Oh, well, I'm gonna look it up then. If you're good with that, I'll look it up.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too.
And then maybe depending on that, then we'll find another plant too.
It says they're edible.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see.
It says it helps you invite magic and power into your life. And if you have them in your garden, it helps you to stay on your spiritual path.
Okay.
So it gives you spiritual focus. And you can put in your bath water for cleansing.
It also says contains high levels of vitamin C, so you can make like a tea with it.
Mm-hmm. And you can also use the dry leaves as an incense to raise your your home's spiritual vibrations.
And it helps with hair loss.
So yeah, it has its properties. So have we used spray sage? I personally have not used spray sage.
I do have a spray for protection. I don't know what it has in it though.
She's saying like spray, like the actual spray sage. I've seen them, but I've never used it.
Oh, no, I haven't used that.
Oh no, Tiffany said, go ahead, have kids, Shishi. I don't know. The way everybody's talking about their kids right now, like I probably like the stage where they don't talk so much. And then maybe that stage where they're trying to figure themselves out. But that teenage stage, that preteen to teenage stage has me saying, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it has me thinking 55 times over because I don't even like teenagers right now that belong to other people.
What about being a foster mom?
Well, I want to adopt, right? But I really do. It's that whole teenager stage that even then gets me. Because I'm like, first off, I'm looking at the teenagers today and I'm thinking, was I that dramatic?
We weren't.
I was like, because they feel like everything that goes wrong, their world is just falling apart. They are having the best first world problems I have ever seen. I still remember pushing play and record for the tape. Now I'm dating myself. Those things like that, and I'm like, oh man, missed that song. I have to wait on the radio. And you're like,
right.
3, click. I mean, just a whole different ballgame in itself. Now, what I can say about the teenagers today, I would hate to have some of their issues though. Like the bullying never ends.
Right. Well, back in the day, if we bullied somebody and we'd get in trouble at school, we'd get a paddling because they paddled us with a real board, popped us on the ass. And then If you said, you can't paddle me until you call my mom, that's the worst thing you could have
Because your
done.
parents will come. Like, I mean, I
Oh
don't know. I don't
no.
know how old you are though, Lynna.
My
I know your
mom
age.
would tell them to go ahead and paddle me, and then I got it again when I got home.
My mom told everybody they could not paddle me. She'll knock me out herself. But there's certain things where I'm like, really? I also felt like because I was a late bloomer in certain things, like especially when it came to, I looked at sex and penis a whole different way than all the other people in my class because I took that sex ed class and all I got from it is it could knock you up and then your life's over or it's going to give you an STD. And so I was perfectly okay not stressing out about sex. That whole my so-called life phase that many of my other friends went through, like the Claire Danes and Jared Leto, when they were like, we have to find that connection. I was like, I'm good. Nope. It's not that serious for me. But I feel like now some of the teenagers I talk to, even before teenagers, they're already thinking about it. I'm like, there's so much more to do than to.
I've been very lucky. Neither one of my kids are interested. And
I mean, like,
that's fine with me. But I always told them from the very, since they were tiny, you don't have kids before 30 or after 35. Don't even think about it.
you could have kids after 35 because most people are having kids later in life.
But I'm telling my kids not before 30 and not after 35.
You're like, look, that's all I have to give you, these 5 years right here. That's all I got. But I just think the mindset of children, like in certain cases, I feel as though they don't get to be kids. Like I actually got to be a kid. I got to run, be dirty. Now, we still had crazy people, I'm sure, around our neighborhood. You know, it was just that thing where they didn't talk about it.
Right.
It wasn't so open like what it is now, which I'm happy it is open, like, ooh, that nasty uncle across the street or whatever. But I actually got to be a kid.
Yeah.
And so when I think about all these things,
we could actually walk down the road to our friend's house.
Yeah, and you could, call your parents on the phone, be like, okay, I'm coming over, because they only had that phone at the time. But I think about, do I want to bring, and I mean, there are times where I'm like, I really want to give birth. And then I'll turn on the TV or I'll see the news and I'm like, I don't think so.
Well, you gotta think, I was pregnant with Walker when, in 2002, when they were showing them cutting people's heads off on the news. Do you remember that? I haven't watched
I remember that.
I stopped watching TV. My kids never watch TV in their entire life. Because we can watch Netflix and not have to see that shit.
I think that's the thing is, like, what we consider important, they definitely don't consider important. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. The news, you can get the news quicker on Twitter than you can on your TV.
Oh, yeah.
So, but why would you need cable? And so cable companies, of course, are like, well, we're going to offer you this a la carte package or all these other things. But the only people really getting cable nowadays are people who are older.
Oh, yeah.
Millennials.
I signed up. I changed my plan because I had cable because it had streaming. And then I switched to just internet. And the girl's on there and she's like, well, I can give you streaming free for 30 days and blah, 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 all this stuff. And I said, okay, that's for 30 days, right? How much is it going to be after 30 days? And she goes on, I said, no, I only want internet. If I want to stream, I can watch what I want to stream via the internet. I don't need, put it this way. Now, I'm a little upset about this, but if I want to watch Supernatural, I can go back to the very first episode, see Mama burning on the ceiling, all that stuff, all the way to where I don't want to ruin it.
It is now.
And then wait until the 13th episode of the 13th season, and the season gets cut off because of the pandemic and get pissed off. But I don't have to watch commercials. I can go back exactly where I was. If I gotta get up and go pee, and then I get busy doing something else, and I come back and I push play, I can go back 10 or 30 seconds to remember where I was. I mean,
yeah.
And YouTube, I get all my news from YouTube. Tiffany says her mom didn't talk to her about sex. That's why she was always wanting some. When I remember asking my mom about sex, and you know what my mom did? See, this is before the internet.
Did she go get a video and make you get popcorn? Because that's what mine did.
No, this is I'm a little older than you. She went and got the encyclopedia and opened it up to venereal diseases and made me read it. And
I remember.
That was our talk. She didn't talk. She just, here, read this.
I mean, it traumatizes you.
Mm-hmm.
It traumatized me. I was like, no way. No way. Absolutely not.
Hi, Rob. How are you?
I'm like, man, something got stuck in my throat. I don't know what it was.
Earlier today.
I have no idea. But I remember my sisters and I were like, okay, Mom, so sex ed came in and they talked about babies, but they didn't give much detail about it. And she's like, oh my God, pop some popcorn. I'm going to order some pizza. And so we were like, oh my God, this is going to be a great talk. No, she brought home a video. I remember sitting there thinking to myself, I want no parts of it.
Right.
That head stretched it out to like, I was like, Mom, it doesn't go back to normal. She's like, yes, it does. I was like, no, it does not. There's no way it does.
Well, I'm going to tell on you can't hear me yet. But there's ways to prevent that. You could have a C-section.
Mm-hmm. I'm still traumatized though. And like, I look at it now and I'm like, it's beautiful.
There's pros and cons, but I think a C-section is probably better. Number one, you get to make an appointment. You don't have to go through the whole labor thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't go to the bathroom. I mean, you just, because your stomach, I mean, it feels like you're going to bust it wide open. Hey, girl, how are you? We're talking about C-sections. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, what did I come in on? Like, oh, I hadn't even eaten yet.
You can't go to the bathroom after a C-section.
Oh, well, I had to, so I know.
She's worried about having babies, thinking it'll get all and not go.
I'm good now. I mean,
okay.
I want to have one, but I think every time I turn the news, it's like, I'll just pick one that's already here.
That's nice, though. It really is. I used to say that when I was a teenager. I was never going to have kids because there's enough kids now that don't have parents, you know. Why bring any more kids into this awful world? And now look, here we are.
I often ask myself, like, why do people have 8 to 10 children still?
Oh,
like, what?
My mom was a baby of 12.
Nope.
Tiffany says, Shishi, my babies need a good mom or a god mom. I thought you were going to give your kids away to her, Tiffany. Sorry.
I was like, check back in 2 years. I'll get back with you in a little bit. I'm moving right now. I can't take anything extra with me.
2 years?
My kids needed a good mom too. Here you go.
I'm like, here, take my, I mean, probably. I mean, because I get there, I turn 40 next year. So probably around 41, 42. I'll go with that. And Ollie turned, well, you already know, Ollie will be 43 by the time we do that. So it'll probably be an older child. He's like, I'm not waking up for anything. Is his thing.
They're all right.
I get it. That makes sense too, because babies are a lot of work. But I guess, you know, the great thing is that you're on the same page with your partner about what you want, what he wants.
No, I want a baby. He's like, I'm not waking up for anything.
Oh.
But as you get older, it's difficult to adopt a baby.
Why? Because they think of your life expectancy?
Your age, they factor in your age.
Ah, okay. I guess that makes sense.
Older people have more patience.
I would think so.
Maybe.
Not with toddlers, maybe, but or like the kids that I see like on the videos that are knocking down TVs and stuff. I was like,
oh, that's because they needed to be spanked from the get-go.
I was like, what is wrong with your demon child?
They should be. People let their kids get away with too much.
I don't know.
Well, she said none of her baby daddies help with the baby. She had babies hanging from her boobs.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That
That
gave me a
happens a
crazy
lot.
image. Like, yeah, you see the cartoons and the babies are kicking, you're like, that's all I thought about. I'm like, oh no. Oh my God.
It
Because
makes
that's how
sense.
they were. That is funny. We don't know what to talk about. I had a subject and then I lost it. I was like, we should talk about that. But we talked a little bit about why people have this mindset of doing magic for yourself. Why is it considered selfish or wrong? You know, because many practitioners, like when I first stepped in, were given the mindset of you can't do magic for yourself. You can only do it for other people. But I do want to bring up this up. This is what it was. And I brought it up before. Does your diet affect your magic?
You know what? I remember when I was starting out, and I always have to say I still don't have the healthiest of diets, but I remember when I first started out, I saw all these people were like, oh, you got to be vegan to connect with spirit. You have to give up certain things to connect with spirit. And all these people were hungry and angry and just pissed off. And it was like, no, namaste. So I was like, eat a goddamn burger and be happy, because you got to be in your right mind to do the work. Why would you sit up there? I understand, because I'm Catholic. And of course, if you come from a religious background, we understand fasting to get closer to spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand, say you want $1 million and you have made this contract or deal with spirit that you're going to fast for 3 days and you're going to pray so that you can manifest that. That's one thing. But I think having to change what you eat, it doesn't work for everybody. Here's what I've learned, especially coming from Haiti, because when we came back from Haiti, we had certain taboos where you couldn't eat certain things, and I was like, I didn't even know I liked that stuff so much, because it was like, I can't eat it. You know, I can't have the Dr. Pepper. I can't do this, and I was losing my freaking mind. But I think really you have to be healthy. And I've noticed that spirit will take things away from you. You don't have to make that decision. If spirit wants you to be a vegan, you will not like meat. If spirit wants you to give up sugar, every time you eat it, you will get sick. I've noticed that with working in practices and things like that. What do y'all? I mean, I don't know. That's what I've seen.
So I don't think you have to be vegan, but I know I did see that a lot. Like, oh, you know, you have to give up animals because animals have spirits, and you take the spirit into your body, and you're all messed up.
So do plants.
I was going to say the same thing. So does plants.
But you know, they don't look at plants that way, right? Because they're only looking at the aspect of the animal that was once living and had tears and could give birth and all this other stuff. I am learning that the happier I am with my diet, the more powerful my magic is. So if I feel sluggish, which I think is anything, then my magic is sluggish.
Mm-hmm.
So like after I've had water or juice or tea, I'm like, oh, I feel really nice and zen. I feel like, you know, I'm floating, everything's good. I eat a salad, you know, with some meat on it, perfect. Now as I've gotten maybe older, or maybe, I don't know, like you said, spirit takes it away. I don't really like French fries that much. And I used to love French fries. Don't like French fries. I don't really like pizza. Like I have to be in the mood for pizza. I don't like hamburgers really. I have to be in the mood for hamburger. But I might eat steak on my salad, or I might like saute up some beef or something, but I don't eat a steak. I really don't eat steak that much. I don't really eat pork anymore. Not, and I grew up with pork chops and all that other stuff.
Right.
One day I just stopped eating pork, really. And I was like, when did that happen? I don't really eat a lot of sweets. And I'm like, you know, now I think about it, fat should just be falling off, really, truly. But that's really what should be going on. But it's not. But the other part is, the issue that I run into is my appetite is much smaller. So I don't know if maybe that plays a role into some of the things I eat, because I eat probably no more usually than twice a day. And it may not be a lot. Like I might have a side salad and I'd be like, oh, well, that's about all. you know, or something like that lately. And I'm like, what? It might be the heat because it's so hot that maybe your body's like, I don't want to like waste the energy and build up heat chewing or something. I know in the summer, I do much better with salads and soup. And in the winter, that's when I start eating maybe a little bit differently because I feel like maybe I'm like a chipmunk or a squirrel. I'm trying to save up for the rest of the year or something. But still,
The body is active.
yeah. So mostly it's soup and everything. But before, like last year, when I was like eating on the go all the time, I was, I felt like my magic was mediocre for a bit until I was like, you know what? I need some vegetables in my life and some chicken and some fish. And so I don't think you need only vegetables. I think you need to be okay with your diet that it gives you enough energy so that what you're putting out, because magic is energy, is not sluggish and mediocre.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with it. I think, like you said, you need to be at a comfortable place. Not only, like you said, with your food choices, but emotional and just across the board balance. And for people, if you're being called to do something, like I have voodoo spirits that eat meat. So every now and then, and I'm not a big meat eater. I'm more fish and vegetables. But every now and then, if Ogu says, I want a steak, I feel like I crave a steak too. I want to eat a steak. So sometimes I think too, some of the spirits or deities that you work with have certain diets that, whether you know it or not, connect with them. Papa, I forgot where he was talking. I think it was a class that he did. And I don't know about other traditions, but in voodoo, he says that the Loa, there's aspects of the Loa that we take on. And so if you are vegan, I've seen people that literally lose their mind because they're craving steak. Like, oh my God, I got to eat a piece of meat because my spirit is making me eat a piece of meat. I mean, I'm pretty sure you have say-so in that, but it's probably a craving because I get it. It's like, oh, okay, I want a piece of steak. So it's interesting. I mean, that really is a good way to look at it, because I'm sure for a lot of people, depending on what you practice, there are going to be certain things that change. And somebody even put hormones. Getting older, of course, your hormones are going to shift. But I do feel like certain deities do call for certain things, and you crave it. What about you? I don't know. You Lynna, you have these special things?
Really, I eat what I want to eat. I'm pretty much like Shishi. I'm not too big into pizza, and I don't really like hamburgers. I think it's because it has a lot of bread, and I just don't like it. I don't eat a lot of bread. I don't eat sweets. Well, my Dr. Pepper, but I don't eat a lot of sweet. I don't like chocolate. I've never liked chocolate. I don't like anything purple, anything grape, anything. Now, I like the grapes you buy at the store, the little green grapes. Those are fine. But I shit you not, and my son thinks I'm crazy. Purple is a flavor. Because if you think about it, grape jelly does not taste like those grapes in the grocery store. It tastes purple.
Both of us are looking up in the air like,
well, no, because it sounds like, you know, remember when they were talking about black people like from the hood, like it was like 20 years ago, and they were like, I want the red flavor, and they're like, red is not a flavor. Like, purple's not a flavor.
Purple is a flavor. It doesn't taste. Grapes at the store does not taste like purple grape jelly. It doesn't taste like grape Fanta.
I will agree with you on that, but also a lot of it has to do with how they process the grapes and what grapes are actually being used. Now, they say Concord grapes.
Now,
I have never eaten a Concord grape.
Those are the red ones. And muscadine grapes have they're whole.
Muscadine.
Yeah.
I've had those, and they taste weird in the wine because I'm like, I know those grapes.
Mm-hmm.
The ones you get out your grandma's yard, you're like, oh.
And they burn your mouth too. They'll make they'll give you a rash on your lips. But
yeah,
none of them taste like grape jelly. None of them taste purple. Purple has a flavor.
But I mean, but wouldn't that be the process? Like if somebody is making their own jam, it tastes like the fruit.
Right. It don't taste like that purple stuff.
Well, and probably because you're not putting preservatives into it. And I think too, spiritually, a lot of people can't process certain preservatives. Because I know a lot of practitioners that have gone organic, even with their vegetables and stuff that they buy, because they cannot, they're oversensitive. Their smell is sensitive, their taste is sensitive. So I think you're onto it. There are definitely changes that happen within your spirituality, with your taste and things like that, because of your sensitivity. So I wonder if the higher you evolve or the higher you vibrate, maybe your diet does get cleaner.
Yeah, the higher you go, the more you can taste color. No, not really.
Sorry, no, I think it does, right? Because if you think about it, like if you're looking at deities, they didn't eat the things we eat. So they're going to want you to use your body as a temple, especially if they're going through you. Like if you're being ridden, or they have to, or you're being, they channel through you or whatever. They're going to want your body as clean as possible.
Well, it's funny because when you think about the ancestors, and of course we all come from different ancestry, and it depends on where you demographically where you're from. But in Louisiana, they literally utilize every part of an animal. I mean, chitlins, pork skins, I don't eat pork either. If I smell bacon, I might be tempted to go take a bite because it's just like, oh, I remember how it tastes. But literally, when you go back to slavery, a lot of people, and I mean, of course, ate what was given to them. It wasn't the best of diets. A lot of times for any of us, we grew up on foods that maybe people don't. I mean, we ate beef tongue. We ate pig feet. We ate a lot of different things that it didn't stop my gift because I had it when I was young. So I'm not going to say that the food affected the gift, but I probably will say if my diet was cleaner, it may make a difference.
I'm not saying your food, like, how do I say this? I'm talking about like they didn't have pizza. They didn't have like heavy pastas, things like that. So they utilized the full pig, but they utilized it and didn't add stuff to it.
True. That's true. You're right.
And so it's different. Like, Lynna's pink stuff. Like when they made their grape jelly, it tasted like the grapes that came off the vine, not that purple stuff. And so it did taste a little bit different, because then you have to ask yourself, like, I have to say, I like pork skins, but that's my travel food. I get that, a Monster, a Red Bull, a Fanta, and I'm like, I can survive a whole trip. But like, if you think about it, we often ask ourselves, how were they able to eat bacon, pig's feet, chicken feet, frog legs, all these things, and live to be 1,000 years old? But we eat those same things. We about to kick the bucket because now we've been told that they're bad for us. I wouldn't say that they're exactly bad for us. I think it's how it's processed, how it's preserved.
Preservatives are a big issue right now, and I think with a lot of people, especially with people that are starting out, that really feel like they have to eat clean and they're giving up a lot of things. I think it literally is the sensitivity. I think if you're very much sensitive, they don't have as much stress, but we're not making it like they used to. That's true too. That is true too. We're cooking it a little bit different because like you said, we got all these seasonings with preservatives and the taste is different. But I that is interesting. Because I think must have been about a month ago, I was talking with somebody about this same thing. And I was doing a reading and she was like, I have to go vegan because I want to grow my gift. And I looked at her cards and I was like, your gift is going to grow whether you keep eating bacon or not.
Yeah, well, and
it's gonna come through.
And Jess probably went through. I know Taylor went through a stage though when she first. Oh, my light went out. When she first went over to veganism and vegetarianism, she got sick, bad sick, and now she's like. She texted me yesterday. How about canes for dinner? Okay. Yeah, and she's like, I feel like I have so much energy and.
But she's vegan now, so she's completely vegan now?
Well, up until about a week ago, she was vegan for 2 years. Vegan vegetarian.
Because some people it doesn't work well with. I mean, because I also think it depends on what your body needs, and your body's going to tell you what it needs. Some people, they're fine going vegan. I know one woman, she was vegan for pretty much all her life, but what happened was she got into an accident and took forever for her bones to heal. Because, you know, she had to supplement it with other stuff. Charlotte is pretty much vegan adjacent. She rarely eats meat. That's my friend that I call my sister. But me, I'm at the point where I'm like, I can eat fish or, you know, seafood and chicken, and I can actually be okay. So I was like, once I get that beef out my fridge that I bought, it's going to probably be seafood and chicken for me, because that's what I'm being called to. I mean, I don't have a heavy need for red meat right now.
I do eat sausage though.
Yeah.
I don't eat a lot of red meat except for sausage. I love sausage. I like chili and sausage.
Oh no, Rob said he has nightmares and consequences anytime he eats pork. He took spiritual vows 20 years ago not to eat pork.
Well, see, and that's what I was saying. Oh, I'm sorry, Lynna.
I was gonna say only time I really eat pork is when it's in an egg roll.
Oh yeah, it's good in egg roll.
Yeah, or fried rice. Well, no, I take that back because I like ham.
I mean, like, or I'll eat like if I go to Korean barbecue, then I'll eat pork and beef, but it's thin slices.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't need a big steak. That's the thing. And there's something like when you go to hot pot. I don't know if you guys have ever gone to hot pot or Korean barbecue. The slices are very thin.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like you're eating a whole big piece of steak there. And I like pork belly. I didn't think I would ever like pork belly. That I will say I like pork belly, but I don't ever cook it at home for myself either. So I usually only get pork belly when I'm out at Korean barbecue, which is once in a blue moon. But, you know, like what Tiffany said, you eat what your body kind of craves. Because I'm a blood type O. And like TMI, but on my period, I lose too much salt. For certain times of the month, I lose too much salt.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to build that salt up somehow. And that's usually when I might. Like, okay.
It definitely makes sense. Going back to what Rob said too, sometimes in traditions, like I was saying before, they're taboos. That no matter if you want it or not, you can't eat it because that's part of your contract with your spirit. So, I mean, it's almost like you can smell it, you can know you want it, but you can't eat it. I think when I talked to Ifa Abeo one time, oh my God, she had like, shit. It was like taboo after taboo after taboo. I can't do this. I can't eat with a fork. I can't drink. And I learned the other night with Tipsy Tarot, my spirits were kind of like, no, we ain't feeling this, Tonya. We not feeling this drink. We not feeling, because that night I was like,
I feel so bad.
No.
I mean, you didn't even have that much to drink.
No, and I think it's because I really have not within the last year wanted to drink, even like wine or anything like that. So I think what it is that at a certain point, like somebody was saying, your body knows what it will process, what it won't process.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it got to a certain point where I was drinking and I was questioning my intuition. You know, is that message right? Am I hearing it right? Is it sounding right? So
I mean, yeah, if you're not used to it.
Yeah. And
go ahead, sir.
No, you can go ahead. I think Jazz is trying to.
Hey, Jazz.
Photobomb.
So cute. I mean, I think, like, because I do have, like, a glass of wine or so, you know, at night or something like that, then it's pretty good. But I discovered I cannot drink as heavy as what I would like. The only time I drink that heavy is for Tipsy Tarot. And everybody was like, oh, you know, usually you're crazy or something. I'm like, I can outdrink 85% of the people alive. But
yeah, your tolerance was a lot higher.
I used to could, but no, I'm a wuss now.
But it could be an age thing. It could be an age thing because there's certain people who get older and they literally can't process alcohol. They cannot process the sugar in it.
It's a little bit, depending on what you drink, it's a little bit harder on your stomach. Like people who can drink shots, I can't do shots. I don't like them.
I think it was, what do they call that? pattern, you know, like around 30 years old when you wake up and everything's different?
With both of us, huh?
I thought that was 40. Because I'm like, I'm waiting for 40 so I can just stop caring about stuff.
Yeah, well,
Don't happen until 50.
but like right around the age of 30, your priorities change.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and I just don't drink anymore. I'll go to New Orleans and Tanya can somebody will buy me a drink, ask me what I want, I'll go ahead and get a drink, I'll take 2 sips out of it and then say, hey Tanya, you want this? But I don't want to be rude, but I don't. It's just.
I think it depends on what you drink too. Like, wine will hit me faster than a mixed drink.
I would drink tequila and bourbon.
But I like wine better. I like it; just feels smoother. It doesn't hurt my stomach, perhaps, maybe as much as like I can't drink tequila.
Oh, yeah, you mess with tequila either.
I can't do tequila really. It just, but I can do vodka and rum.
See, I could never do vodka. Vodka tastes like gasoline to me.
I think it comes down to, like somebody was saying, your body knows what it will process and what it will not. It really depends on what works for you. Rob put something up there about edibles. What do we feel about using other sources to help us reach enlightenment? Say you are meditating, you are doing readings, and you're using some substance to help you connect to spirit. You know, some people are like, oh, you shouldn't smoke weed when you're trying to connect with spirit because that leaves you wide open, or you shouldn't do ayahuasca, or you shouldn't do cocaine, or whatever. But I know practitioners who use other substances. Now, I don't think I could, on an edible, I don't think I could do a reading. I don't know. I've never tried. You know what? I might try that Friday. Might pop an edible in and see what happens. What do y'all think about it?
I know readers that have to smoke before they read. It's like the only way. And you got to think about it too, though. You have to be open, and whether you want to agree with this or not, growing up, we've been conditioned to block things off. The tooth fairy, Santa Claus, different things. Oh, that's not real. This is not real. And we've been conditioned to kind of block those things off. And so by those people who need to or feel like they need to smoke, it drops those boundaries so that they can hear spirit and connect with spirit more, because they don't have those blocks maybe around. I personally, well, I don't, but I know people who do, and you know, whatever floats their boat, that's them, you know.
No, I don't do it for readings. I will do it like when I know I have no readings, or I mean, I can do readings with it, because the thing is, I don't do it when I know I have scheduled readings. There may be a time where my friends, because they make edibles and they make strong edibles, and I'm like, they really need to open a store. I will have that, and I will be walking so many different realms. But I don't, for me, I can't use it to connect, because I feel like the messages may get mixed up for me. I'm trying to put it in the words, because I jump from place to place to place. So it's not something I can really center myself on, if that makes sense. But that's also like when I used to drink with my friends and we'd be going out, oh, we're just gonna have, we're gonna really like live it up. I learned that I can't read. I've only read one woman in a bar after I've been drinking that much. And it turns out she's the witch that gifted me that deck. She wanted to see if I really have the gift. I see too much about people when I'm heavy under the influence. And sometimes I don't want to know. And they drive me crazy, because then you're like, and I can't help it. Like, it comes out, I'm like, why is that guy that looks like this always around you? And they'll pull out a picture, and then they're like, well, tell me about this. And you're like, yeah, no, never mind. It's like too much.
Yeah.
I guess, you know, you can get an overload.
Because your boundaries are dropped.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're already connected and you're growing and you're open anyway, that's awesome. If that's the case, I don't really feel you need it to drop your boundaries further. But I also know people that have to get high to be able to connect to a whole different place. And usually it's when they're trying to do their mediumship. At least people I know that they do that. But for me, I don't recommend it because I don't want to be so open that I can't pull myself out, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I think with me, I pretty much don't have a filter. Sober. So I could see being intoxicated on something and being like, you know, you fucking yourself. I mean, I really would. The little filter that I have that tries to be nurturing would be completely gone from me. And I think it would be detrimental in the readings because I have to have some sense of empathy. And honestly, I don't know if I would have that same because I don't know if I don't think I would. I've never tried it. And I may try it. I may do an experiment.
You could try it on me. I want to see what happens. I'll be like, okay, you're right. You shouldn't have it.
I'm going to pop an edible and then do a reading and see what comes out. I do agree with you that sometimes you can go too far down the rabbit hole because we both had an experience with certain drinks and teas. So I got some powder from this website and somebody it's called it's an ayahuasca powder, but it's not really ayahuasca because it's not the full. There's a whole ritual that goes into that when you're taking it, you guys. So you can't just buy it online and be like, oh, I'm gonna mix this, mix that, and have the experience. But this person was like, oh, you know, just it'll help you sleep and dream. Mix it with Dreamtime tea or your holy basil tea. And I was like, okay, cool. So I get it and I take my little bath. I'm in a bubble bath, soaking and mixing up my little tea and sipping and everything. And I'm feeling relaxed. I'm feeling good. Nothing weird, nothing strange. And then I go to sleep. Now, normally I dream and I lucid dream and I can astral project and travel. So that wasn't different. But literally, I woke up in somebody's asshole. Like I was getting sucked in. And it was the most bizarre thing I have ever experienced in my life because I knew where I was and I just remembered going, oh, like it was disgusting to me. And all I can remember is I don't want to do it. I don't want to go in. And I got sucked in and it was traumatic. It was traumatic. It was traumatic, you guys.
I was dead when you told me that. I was trying not to snort, cry. I was like, Tonya.
It was more, and I'm like, out of every place that I could have gone, somebody's asshole. And I knew it because it was puckered. I knew exactly what it was.
No, exactly what my first thought was.
I mean, saying you were floating, you should like, because it was dream state, you could be like, no, and then like push yourself away from the booty hole, something.
That
control of the dream.
It kind of goes back to your point. Normally, I lucid dream, which means I have turned dreams around to make it be what I want it to be. This particular experience, I heard myself saying no, 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 and I kept getting sucked in. So I didn't. It was a loss of control, and I didn't like that. So I think it would be, to me, taking something that makes me lose control where I don't have a say so. Especially when you're going and traveling into the spiritual realms, you got things that are out there that can literally take advantage of you and put you in certain situations. And it made me feel very uncomfortable that this thing either took away my ability to say, no, let's change it, because I couldn't. And that's what really got me. So I wonder how many people really do hit those experiences where it's like, okay, you know, I want to dream, I want to lucid dream, I want to try this stuff. But then, like you say, you realize you might go too far down into the rabbit hole where you can't pull back out.
I think, you know, for me, when I tried that tea, I was like, did I mix that tea with everything? It was something else. Everybody had a different experience. And I was like, what was going on with me for me to have that experience of going through all these different past lives or, you know, experiencing these different lives, so to say, that other people didn't experience. And I realized I had tried a new wine and I had 2 big glasses of it. And so then when I took that tea, I was like, oh, that must have been what happened. It may not have mixed well. So I was like, I'll order again, order, the tea, and definitely definitely not drink wine before I try it. But that had me on a whole different time warp, and I wanted to go to sleep, but I couldn't. My mind kept flipping and flipping and flipping, so I had to pop an edible to go to bed. I was like, pop half an edible just to go to sleep. It was just too much on, with your mind, because when your mind is over processing things, then you can't sleep because it feels like it's gonna miss something, but you want to go to sleep, but it's like you're gonna miss something. I was like, I just want to go to bed. I just want to go to sleep. And I was like, I will not mix wine and that tea ever again. But some other people had weird dreams.
Yeah, I get you. I haven't messed with that powder since. I haven't. I mean, literally, I think I'm curious to see if I did it again, would it be a different journey? But I'm almost scared that it would take me back where I was.
What if you went up a vagina or up a shaft? Ooh. I would be like, at this point, you need to write down these dreams and figure out the meaning.
I'm sure there was a meaning to it. I really, there was an asshole with blocks in the colon. So maybe these were blocks in my life. I'm not sure. Spirit could have picked a whole nother way though to show it to me. It really, it was bizarre. I'm not gonna lie, but I think when we start mixing these chemicals, and I will say, you guys, be careful where you order these things from. Mm-hmm. Because not everything that's touted as, these powders are actually the real thing. There's a lot of mixing and moxing with some of these things. Even with weed, if you don't have a reputable person, you can get some stuff that's mixed and cooked up with something else. Shit, what was it? A couple of years ago, we had people trying to eat people because they were smoking shit that they didn't even know they were smoking.
The bath salts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would say when you start dealing with Dreamtime teas and things like that, go by reviews and order from reputable places. The tea that Shishi was talking about, I was like, okay, that sounds cool. I think I want to try it. I would go to her for a recommendation. I know the person who's selling the tea, but I would still talk to Shishi and go, okay, how did you feel on it? Were there any other issues? Because you need to know this. Don't just buy stuff and put it in your drink or whatever. Please be careful with that, because there are people who've had really bad trips off of things that shouldn't have even done that to them, and it was because stuff was mixed into it. So reputable. If you're gonna try anything, reputable. And if you really want a true ayahuasca experience, you need to get with a shaman. It's a whole ritual to it. It's not like you're going to take this tea and go through the spiritual journey. What I went through, I wouldn't call a spiritual journey, because that is not what I thought it would be.
You know what?
So
I'm not sure. When you tell that story, you remember playing Frogger on Atari, and how the river had the logs and you had to jump across the logs. I can just see tiny little Tonya in there trying to jump over boulders.
It was disgusting. It wasn't a good experience. It wasn't, to me, what I would consider a spiritual experience. Now, with certain things, if you, like Shishi was saying, if you go down the rabbit hole, there are things that you will encounter that maybe you have to deal with that aren't pleasant. People see demons, and it could be demons of their own creation. It could be things from the spiritual realm that you've encountered and you have to deal with. So you have to be willing to understand what could come up, especially if you got problems. And we all got problems. We all got issues. So trauma, unresolved issues, a lot of that stuff is waiting in the psyche for you to open that door. So they can be like, okay, come on, bitch, let's get this right.
But not only that, the other part is certain things you shouldn't do by yourself. Like, I know people, they're like, we want to try shrooms. Shrooms is not something you should be alone when trying.
Yeah.
They shouldn't, because everybody has tripped off of that a whole different way. Some people have had terrifying trips off of shrooms, and they're like, we will never do it again. Whereas other people are like, oh, it wasn't so bad. We saw like all these colorful things, and it was all good. Some people have been absolutely terrified. It's like salvia. Like people were like, we're doing salvia or salvia, and like one of my friends did it, and he thought the couch was eating him, and he called the police to come help him because the couch was eating him. I mean, so there's certain things you should be with people or have people around you that you trust before trying.
It's true, because I've been trying to try shrooms for a while.
You have to definitely, you shouldn't try it just around anybody. You should do it in a group with people in a safe environment, because sometimes I haven't had it, but I was listening to everybody else. Sometimes it alters the space around you. And if it's not your space, you can imagine how scary that is.
Interesting. I remember I had a client about 8 years ago that, I don't know what he tried, but he ended up in a mental institution. And it took him 5 years to come out of it.
Was it LSD?
I don't know what it was. It was some type of pill, and he was with friends, and it was to open up some type of spiritual experience. But I remember he came in for a massage, and he was like, Miss Tonya, he goes, I see demons everywhere. And he, like Rob is saying, hallucinations, dead people all over. He literally was like, I can see, when I look at people, I can see the demon in them. And he said he ended up losing his job and a lot of things, and his family thought he was going crazy. And he was like, I'm telling you, these people, it exists, it's real, I see it. And he 100%, whatever it was, he believed in it. And they ended up locking him up. And it took him 5 years. And I keep thinking, that's 5 years. He was like, what, 22 when it happened?
Oh my God.
27. He's now just starting to get his life back on track. And you have to think about, man, was there something else that it was laced with? Did somebody do him dirty? Or did he open up a part of his psyche that literally couldn't be closed back, that needed help? I don't know.
It's like those people who try to do those, what was it? It was Flatliners, that was a movie, but you have people that actually try to get that experience where they almost die, so then they can go on the other realm, and then they wake up. What do we see? Why would you do that? And then you have like people who took the drug that was guaranteed to kill them. I think it was like some form of cocaine or heroin or something. They're like, you take it, you will die. And people were like, so where can we get it? Why would you want that?
Okay, wait. Okay, so you take it, you die, and what? They bring you back? They do CPR on you?
Some people were doing it. They were trying to get brought back, but they couldn't. Like, you die. It's it. Like, that's it. You die.
Oh, hell.
And then, like, some people were trying to get it because they were suicidal, but they were like, it was a guaranteed death. Guaranteed death.
Wouldn't that be really brutal, though? That's not a good experience. It just doesn't sound like a good experience to me.
Some people like that, and some people are like, it could be a near-death experience if you have somebody next to you, and then they can, inject this. And people are like, no, the problem is that people lace it with some other things. We don't know how your body's going to react to it. We just know you die. And that was it. We know you die.
I don't even want anybody choking me while we're having sex.
Yeah. I don't mind that.
I was like, let's not go too crazy now. That's not too bad.
But you have to be careful. And I know a lot of people, they're very eager to try new things. And I believe you should be open to try new things. But when it comes to drugs, I'm not so eager. I'm not so eager. I think, it took me forever. When it came to the opioid crisis, I was like, how are y'all getting addicted to this thing? This makes no sense. Well, then I got Tylenol with codeine, and then they gave me some other painkiller after I got the oxygen. I was like, oh, I get it. I get it now, because it makes you feel really zen, and it actually opens you up. Like, if you have gifts, you're just sitting there and you're just feeling everything, you're hearing everything, depending on what they give you. I was like, what the hell? I was like, yeah, only taking when necessary, when I can't bear it anymore.
Yeah, I think my sister goes to Mexico, and she gets these 800 ibuprofen in Mexico, and I swear to God, they're laced with cocaine.
They put you out.
They take you out, and I cut mine in half because literally I will trip on them, and I'm like, you know what, I don't want to get used to that. I'm a control freak. So I think people with I mean, and I'm not going to say, because I'm addicted to sugar, so I'm not going to say I don't have addicted personality, but I think I'm too much of a control freak to want to get caught up on something that I have to have, because I feel like it's taking away my control of it. I don't want to be addicted to something that I have to get to connect to spirit. I had a tarot card addiction when I first started reading, and we can all relate to this, because we got one in the middle here that will go ahead. Yeah, put your head down. Put your head down.
Who, like Lynna? You talking about Lynna?
You too. But we all.
I was like, yeah, no, Lynna.
we all need to be saying, hey, my name is Tonya, Shishi, Lynna, and I have a tarot card addiction.
Oh my God, the addiction.
Welcome to the
bought a deck in the past.
Don't let lightning strike you.
3 weeks.
That's good.
I can't ever say that. I'm not.
I'm
That would be a
21
lie.
days sober.
It would be a lie. Look.
But what I would do is I would buy the decks and I would read nonstop. You know, practice. And it wasn't even just me reading myself, because I very rarely read myself. But I got to the point where it was like the cards were calling me, like, come read us. You know, come on, come sit at the table. Come on, pull the card out. You know you want to play with this deck. And it was spirit connection, and they were exhausting me. It was like I was waking up at night and they were like, oh, you know, if I saw a commercial, oh, pull on that. And I was pulling on it. So it literally was an addiction. And I had to kind of have a come to Jesus moment, whatever, with spirit, and be like, okay, look, I can't. I got to rest. You know, I stopped. I used to read in my bed. I would put them in my bedroom and read in my bed. And I was like, no, you got to have a space. We got to put you somewhere else, because it was getting too much. But I was connected to the energy, and I was like, I got to take control of that. I don't like it having control of me. I got to take control of it. Created a reading space, a reading area where that's the only place that I read. And it helped. I mean, I know y'all got addictions with it. I mean, have y'all ever experienced that? Because I know I'm not the only one.
I have addictions with collecting decks. I like decks. I like the art. But I do a lot of, I've gotten to the point where I don't want the decks that maybe you can just buy off the shelf. I kickstarted, so I support artists that are creating their own decks.
I haven't bought a deck from a store in forever.
And that's how I got addicted, is like supporting artists, but also knowing, like, even if they brought that deck out in the store, it may be a little bit different than the deck I got here, or it was going to be more expensive. But I mean, there's some people's artwork that is just amazing. I showed you the True Black Tarot. That is like my favorite deck right now. Yeah. It's beautiful.
And you feel more of a connection to the creator, the person.
Mm-hmm.
Like
because you know the hard work they put into it.
These, you see it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, the wooden tarot cards?
These are like little wooden tiles.
I saw that. She was selling it for $300. She had something that she did recently.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, those are too small for me.
They're beautiful. They are small, but they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Go with them.
I remember when you brought them over to Tonya.
Mm-hmm.
Arthur Wang, he did the True Black Tarot. And what I found out is he actually hand paints the side of the cards himself. He and his wife.
Wow.
But the artwork is just amazing to me. And like the connection that I feel to this deck is very deep. I actually feel this deck a lot more than my haunted deck, but that's also because the witch's husband's dying, so she's over there a lot. But what I've discovered is I get decks, and I may not read on them right away, but the decks that I do use, like the Witch's Tarot, which was my go-to deck all the time, one day she was like, I'm tired now. And so then the Astara Tarot, because, you know, people don't believe it, but your decks have personalities. Mm-hmm. They all have a personality to it. Astara Tarot was like, okay, cool, my turn. And then the Manga Tarot, which was my first tarot deck, really, that I got myself, was like, oh yeah, pull me out because people need something real. And so I may not read them at that moment, but they call when they're supposed to be used.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for me to have just one deck would be reading in one way.
Yeah. I saw on it was an interview, somebody was doing a live, and the person was like, if you need more than one deck, there's something wrong with you. You can't read. And and she was like that, you're not a good reader if you use multiple decks. And I listened to it, and I was like, you know what, that's false information with people. I think decks are like personality. Like you say, there's character to certain decks. I just purchased a playing card deck because in Voodoo you read playing cards. And this came in, and I love the imagery on it. And they're playing cards. I mean, it's a $10 playing card deck, but the images are beautiful. And I think what happens when I normally, on Friday nights when I read, Spirit will be like in my ear, switch decks, because that means that the answer that I need is not in that particular deck. I'm not gonna get the connection.
Right.
And so I listen to that.
Answer different types of questions too.
Exactly. And I think people, you need to go ahead, just like with a practice, it's an individual thing. Sin Moise has one deck, and he's like, I've had this deck for 20 years. It's the only deck I read for. And he always gets on me. Why do you pull so many cards? You only need one card or two cards to read. Okay, that works for you. That's not the way I read. So I'm not going to sit up there and tell you that what you're doing is wrong. I'm just going to say that we read differently. I read as a story. So that means every time I flip a card over, that's more to my story. Now, I could get a simple message from two cards, but I'm nosy. I don't want the simple message. I want to know why it does what it do, why you blocked, what's going to happen next month, and how you're going to come out of it, because I want to give you everything that I see. If you can do that with one card, cool. But you guys don't let people, because I see it so much on there where people are like, oh, you're supposed to read like this, and you can't read like that, and don't use this deck.
You have to be gifted your first deck in order to read? Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I think there's so many things, and we could even do a whole talk on tarot. Dispelling the myths of tarot, because I feel like your cards connect to you in ways that they will not connect with Lynna or with Shishi or with me. And it's because there's a spirit connection, deities that you're working with, information that's coming in, and it also connects to the style of reading. It really does. So you guys, if you hear stuff like that, because I know my eyes was rolling all in my head on that whole interview. I sat there and listened to it, but I was just like, ugh.
Yeah, I would have been upset.
Because I think, honestly, you're telling somebody how to practice or how to read or how to connect with their divination, and it's an individual thing. Just like
I read like you. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
I read like you. Like it's a story. I can't pull just one card and be like, But then at the same time, what I've discovered is sometimes I'm laying out the cards and I'm like, And then you'll hear your guide say, that's what that card normally means. And then they'll give you an image that's still shaded with that card that means nothing about what that card means at all.
Right.
And so it's working with both things, your guides as well as the guide or the spirit of the deck.
True. I think too, Lynna is a historian. When she gets a deck, Lynna researches the deck, she reads the book, she takes notes, she makes a whole notebook of her meaning and interpretation of the deck. Me, I get the deck, I throw the whole book away. And I'm just like, where we going? Doesn't need, and we both give the same quality of readings. I don't know how you do, Shishi. I don't know how, I know for Lynna that everything is very structured and there's a whole process to it.
For me, the books, I write down what the card means to me when I pull it. And then I look at what it means in the book.
I do the same thing.
I like the book because when you read, like that fairy oracle, when you read in the book, you get inside of the author's mind what was this person thinking? That's why I really like Annabelle's too, is because I can read what was she thinking? Why did she put, if y'all, I don't know if y'all watched my video that I did for the card of the day today, Sylvanas. It's about wearing a mask and the reason why you wear a mask. And then it tells about a sword that you may not even see in the card. Can you see this card?
It keeps going in and out. Okay, there we go.
The fairy's holding a sword here. What does that sword mean? The
imagery of it. I mean, that happens, like, that's what they talk about in the Rider-Waite and stuff too.
So you get, but you, by getting into the creator's mind and listen to what they went through and what their background of it is too, it brings out even more meaning to the card. It brings out parts of images that maybe you wouldn't have even thought about. You just see, oh, that's a little red flower. Now we know that astrium can help you with hair loss. So, you know, if you pull that card in a love reading, somebody wants you to describe that person, you might say it's somebody that's losing their hair or, you know, just different things. But you may not notice that little red flower until you read about it in the book. The author, when he was creating the card, he was out in the forest and he ran across this little red flower, so he decided to put it in there. You know, I like all that stuff. And I could go, you know, I've already told you before.
I know, you are the tarot guru.
We could go all night.
Sure.
I want to know the background of the person, how they got to where they are, you know, the creator, and then all kinds of stuff. All kinds
Lynna wants to know the background of the background of the background. and she's good at it. She really is. Sometimes I look at her and I'm like, okay, yeah, that means somebody gonna leave them. And she goes, but no, but wait, how are they gonna do it? And I'm like, okay. But that's how she does it. I'm like you. If I get a deck, okay, so this card says schizophrenia. When I look at this card, it to me was more like feeling stuck, like walls closing in. So somebody could look at this card and in the book, it literally is saying having too much on your mind. And my interpretation of it is that the person feels like the world is closing in, they can't think straight. So it's not so off from the book. But I do the same thing, and I know a lot of people like, I don't want to mark up my tarot decks or whatever. I have collector decks that I would never put a pen on because of the artwork. But there are certain decks that I'm like, if I read for them, they're my daily stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna write what I feel the card means, and eventually you don't even. I mean, I do this when I first get them. After a while, you just pick up the card and you're like, yeah, you're stuck. You're not going anywhere. But I think it's one of those things where you got to just figure out what works. What works for you?
And I use more than just the book meanings. You know, I go with intuition as well, because sometimes the book meanings aren't the answer to the question.
True.
It means something totally different than what the book meaning would be.
Jazz, even because Jazz has been pulling a lot, like every day, right? This week, Jazz has been pulling cards like, Mama, you got a question, because she's really trying to learn. And she's like, teach me, you know, tell me how to do this. And I'm like, no, I say with tarot is different than oracle. Tarot, there's certain structure to it. The cards mean this. Even if you look at it intuitively, there's still a basic meaning to the card. With oracle decks, you literally can look at that picture and go anywhere with it and say, this is what it means. So she's still kind of trying to figure out, okay, to her, what does it feel like?
See, now, I think just the opposite.
Yeah, I think oracle decks for me.
Oracles have a certain meanings or a certain, but tarot has basic meanings, but you can expand on those, and oracles have more of a set. To me, that's to me.
Really?
I agree with Lynna, yeah. But you know what? The only cards that I've seen where you can do that, and I don't know if you looked at them, is the soul cards. The soul cards have no words on them or anything.
Yeah, I have both decks. Yeah, you're right.
So that's the only oracle deck that I've seen where you can be like, okay, I'm going to expand upon that. And I've actually thought about getting those decks because of that.
I don't have those.
I haven't. I don't know where. Well, I was gonna say, look, I got almost 100 decks already around me now. I'm like, I don't even know where they're at. But I mean, I can see what you're saying with it. I mean, I think when spirit connects with you, the visual, the messages, the things that come through, everything makes that card come to life for you, for the message. Everything. There's very rarely where I look at a flat card and go, okay, it's just a flat piece of paper.
Now,
Because
Lenormand, no.
dimensional at a certain point.
Yeah, Lenormand is different. I have one Lenormand deck, and I have yet to read from it.
Lenormand has very specific meanings.
Yeah, it does. I'm like, where is my Lenormand deck? I'm like, I don't know where it is.
Lenormand, when people have a yes/no question, I also use it for timing. Sometimes, if you just want a fast answer, Lenormand is very fast.
I don't think Lenormand is fast because you have to lay out all of Lenormand, from what I understand.
No. You can pull one card. You can pull.
Because doesn't it depend on if it's on the right or left of whatever the one card is?
Ask me just ask a simple question. I'll pull one card and tell you. Anything, doesn't matter.
Don't ask a simple question.
Make it serious. Don't tell people your business. Just ask the question.
Is Yoda gonna feel better soon?
Okay, let's see.
I'm like, where's my Lenormand deck? I don't know where it is.
Actually, I'm gonna use a different deck for that question because what the fuck? Where'd it go? Oh.
Now there is a YouTuber that reads, and he reads his Lenormand completely differently. He is 100% intuitive with it because the meanings of the cards are completely different. If you really are a stippler on Lenormand, he would probably drive you crazy because you're like, that's not what that card means. That is not the way that it goes. And I have to catch myself sometimes when I see him read, like, oh, no, that's not what the card means. But when he goes into the reading is 100% on point. 100% on, but he does not read Lenormand like traditional Lenormand is read. Most people think you have to read it in pairs, like you say, with a card to the left or the right that either is giving you confirmation or opening it up. But I know Lynna, I know a lot of people that pull one card and it's like, okay, yeah, that's it. But I read mine in pairs.
Isn't that how Laura Diaz reads it? She lays them all out too.
A grand to both.
Yeah, you can do that. It'll be a while before he feels better. He might have he might have good days, but it looks like it's going to be a long time before he's back.
Yeah, and that's on point. And then what card did you pull? You pulled 3?
Yeah, the coffin is a long time. The
Scythe.
The lilies is a long time, but the scythe in the middle is real fast. So he'll have good days, but overall it's gonna take him a while.
And that's pretty much what's going on. He's having these little bursts of energy, and then he's down. Then he has a burst, but we're taking him to the vet tomorrow. He has to poop. We got to figure some stuff out. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think with Lenormand, you don't have to do a full spread if you're comfortable with the card.
Here.
I got these tea cards from Karen Dalton Smith. She's like basically the teacup queen. She even has certain teacups so you can read tea leaves.
I have 2 of her decks, yes.
And but I look at her cups, I'm like, I'm not paying $175 for a teacup. I won't do it.
Outrageous. You can actually get them. You can find similar, but her cards
are nice.
They're beautiful.
I got the steampunk one, I think it is, that I have.
Yeah. I think this one she told me was more, and I can't remember. Let me see. The Shades of Black Tea. She said this was really good to open up your mediumship. I very rarely use it for that. I mean, I think I probably read with this deck maybe 5 times, to be honest. I don't connect with it as well as there's another deck that I got from her that I'm like, okay, I like that one. I connect with it. But it is one of those things where sometimes with the cards, you know, you have that immediate connection, or you get it, or you might end up using it 2 years from now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I think
the fairy cards is actually the very first deck I had. And then I didn't use it for 12 years. And that was the last one I bought. So I went back to my first deck. But I didn't use it for 12 years.
I think like for me, the Mademoiselle Tarot is one that I'm starting to use a little bit more. I don't know if you've ever seen the Mademoiselle Tarot.
I haven't.
He's done, I think, 2 of them, and he has the holographic one. But it's a Afro-futuristic deck. The only thing that drives me crazy is he does not send a book. And I told him, I was like, did you want me to maybe do a book for you, for your cards? He never said anything. So there's no book that comes with the Mademoiselle Tarot. But it's Afro-futuristic.
Oh, like that.
And they're tough. Like now people are like, we can't get them. Where are they at? And I'm like, I don't know, but I got it. And I know he has a second one out that's really nice. And I'm like, should I get that one or should I not? But I like his deck. And I'm reading more from it because I feel like when I pull for it, it pushes me more towards what that person is definitely about to go through.
Mm-hmm.
So it still does the same thing as all my other tarot decks, but this one's like, oh yeah, and by the way, this is about to happen, which is, you know, and it tends to, like, when I'm listening to it, it gives like dates. I'm like, okay.
I don't either one of those. I think it's the Light Seers is the one that I like.
I have that one too. You're talking about this one. Did you get the Kickstarter or the off-the-shelf one?
I don't have either one of them.
Oh, I thought you said you had the Light Seers.
No, I want the Light Seers. But I also want the Muse Tarot.
Isn't that out of print too?
I don't know. I don't have it either.
Are you in Tarot Marketplace?
No.
Well, there are groups where people sell these decks, and some of them are out of print. Like the Light Seers Tarot, I bought the version they have on the shelf now, but the Kickstarter Light Seers Tarot has a different, like the Ten of Swords is different, and the box is different. But they sell them; they're like expensive.
On Hay House, weren't the Light Seers on Hay House?
Maybe this version, but the Kickstarter version is not. Of
course.
The
Kickstarter version isn't. The one that Shishi has is on Hay House.
Yeah. But the Kickstarter version, people are selling for like $600. I was like, I remember paying a lot for a deck. I remember telling Tonya, I will never do that again. Never doing that shit again. But the one that I want is the Dark Mansion Tarot.
I have that.
That's the one I want.
I have the limited edition one, the big ones.
That's the one I want. This woman was selling it, and she was like, oh, but I'm in China. And I was like, I'm not going to get, because I guess like they've been selling counterfeit decks from there. And I was like, no, I'm not paying that amount of money to get a counterfeit deck.
Oh, fuck. Go to his website. I can't remember. It's something studio.
I'll look it up. Yeah.
And Rob is right. There are a lot of people that are reprinting tarot decks that aren't authentic. Remember when the Romance Angels, when Doreen Virtue found Jesus and she was like, take my name off my decks. There were a lot of people reprinting that deck and then selling it for $300 plus because they felt like it wasn't ever going to be in print again. And then basically what they did was take her name off. And then now the damn deck is what, $15 again?
Yeah, but people still pay a lot of money for the one with her name on it.
Freaking crazy.
So I was like, what? I was looking at the Romance Angels. I'm not a Doreen Virtue fan. I've never really been a Doreen Virtue fan because I felt like she was all fluffy bunny. But when somebody gives me her deck, I'm like, yeah, sure, just in case I need to sell it. Or something crazy happens. But I have like I have her past life deck. I have her angel. Messages from heaven. Her goddess oracle, and I think her life answers one that I have. But yeah, no.
Yeah, I think I've been using all the decks except maybe the past life one. I think I did purchase that one, but I was kind of like you. I don't know. I wasn't really crazy about angel decks. at the beginning. I just wasn't. The messages to me were a little bit opposite of the way I read. But for people that are very sensitive and, you know, they can't handle anything too heavy, then I'll pull the angels out and give them that soft message because it goes over better. Oh, that's a good deck.
Yeah, that's the Dark Mansion that I want.
Yeah, go to the Taroteca-studio.com, I think is the website.
Now, how much is that deck?
This deck was a limited edition deck. This one was, I don't remember.
Because that's how much it was.
It was maybe 150. Does that sound about right?
I say I'm not paying $100 for a deck, so I guess I must be saving up for a deck that's really gonna knock my shoes off for me to go over $100 for a deck.
The Manzel Tarot was $100, but you know the Ma'at Tarot I paid $300 for that because they were like it's out of print and it was the big one and I fell in love with it, couldn't find it anywhere. I was like, I will never do that shit again because then someone else sold it for $80. And I was like, I should have just waited.
What's your favorite card, Tonya?
My favorite card is always the High Priestess.
Okay, let me show you.
So this is my weirdest deck. The Phantasmiao Cotton Candy Tarot deck.
It looks like a fun deck.
It's crazy. It shows cats in life and death, basically. So sometimes they're decaying and shit. And you're like, what is going on here? But it's a creepy little deck.
See, this is a High Priestess card.
Oh, the High Priestess is beautiful.
Let me see.
Oh, you should see the Devil card. I love the Devil card.
Oh, that's nice.
Let me find the Devil card for you.
That was a creepy little picture. It looked like a roach with a.
That's
with a
my little devil.
Oh, that's cute.
But they're cats. That's only a. Oh wow, he's an old man.
He looked like he up to no good though.
I know. But yeah, the deck is nothing but cats.
That's cute though. I like it.
Here's the Devil. It's a woman.
I've seen the devil as a woman before.
And that's the Dark Mansion Tarot?
Uh-huh.
I love that tarot. I was like, I want that tarot deck, the Dark Mansion. But I got my Sabbath tarot recently. That is the shit.
And what is it called?
The Sabbath tarot. I'll get it. It's in my bedroom. It probably shouldn't be in my bedroom.
Go get it. I want to see it.
It has nothing but penises floating everywhere.
Oh, sounds like my kind of deck.
Repeating if the deck wasn't authentic, to me it doesn't matter, to be honest.
See, I want the authentic deck because I wanted to go to the author. I wanted to go, the artist.
Right, but does it affect the reading? No, not to me. It doesn't.
Yeah. It hurts my butt.
I mean,
it does. It hurts my heart.
Ethically, would I buy it knowing that it was a fake deck? Probably not. But could I read with it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, like you said, if you're paying a decent price, now if it's a fake deck and they're trying to get a lot of money off of it and you know the quality is not the same, then yeah, you don't want that. Somebody was saying about these tarot decks with the card games or whatever. A lot of people don't realize that tarot was created as a game. It was a game. That's what aristocrats, that's what they played.
Tarot.
So yeah, so it was a game initially. And then, you know, it progressed and morphed. And of course, now we use it more for divination. But that's how people used to drink wine and play games with it.
Yeah, because I think, what was it? The one you like and I like so Lo Scarabo reprinted the Visconti Madroni the way it was back in the old days with the gold paint. You know I had to get it because I'm like, I have special, but I have too many decks coming, basically. So yes, I have an addiction. I don't feel bad for it, though.
Didn't he do these?
But the cards are huge, and it's gold paint.
Oh, beautiful.
And each card is hand-painted, pretty much. Like, the art was done hand-painted, and however they did it, but...
I think he did these, the Golden Tarot, didn't he?
I don't know. I think he may have, but I don't know because I did not think I would want the Visconti Madroni, but because of how they did it,
Yeah,
I wanted it.
right. Los Scarabeo.
Oh yeah, they did it. So this is my Sabbath tarot. It came in a really funky little box. I feel like, dang, people are like, what are y'all up here just talking about tarot cards? Pretty much. So it says Sabbath Tarot. It has a really nice little thick book with it. It came with this really cute evil little pen and evil little bag. That's what I call it, little evil bag. But the cards are really pretty. They're red on the side. Where is mine? So they have, now I have to really sit down and look at it. They don't have temperance, but they have intemperance. But death for them is a woman.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God. I think I just got wet.
So, and then they have intemperance instead of temperance.
She looks like death on Cursed.
Shishi, yeah. How much is that deck?
It was only a Kickstarter.
Oh.
And so, and I waited almost a year to get it, because but then they have Lucifer, right?
Oh my God.
And then they have Satan, and that's when you have, like, you see the dick right there. There's like a bunch of men with nothing but penises and cute butts. But he's really serious on the horned gods, or the horned men. Like the one that got me, like the pirate got me. There's like another swords card where there's no head, but a sword coming out the head. The star I really liked, but that's because that's my card.
Oh yeah.
But it's a really pretty deck, and he did really nicely with the art. The moon and the sun are nice. The Demerge, which is, that's a nice one too, but he did great with the art.
Demerge, eight of cups.
No, card 20.
Okay.
But I mean, he did really, really nice with the art. But yeah, a lot of the men, I'll show you this one, they have horns on their head too, or they have like wings of some sort.
You know, we were talking about addictions earlier. I think we just
Mine? Oh, everybody already knows that's my addiction.
Right.
I got no problem admitting it.
Addictions earlier, and tarot is our crack.
Tarot is it.
I just went.
Oh, and they don't have, so the magician is just the witch, which is nice. But this one right here, I really thought this would have been Angela's favorite card, which was the High Priestess, if that's yours.
Oh, I like it though.
And then they have the Witch Queen as well.
My good, is it still available?
I had to wait a year to get it. It's the Witch King too, which is nice.
Beautiful. It's freaking beautiful.
Yeah, it took forever. I was like, please hurry up and get here. And finally, he like let me know we've shipped them all out, and I was like, yes. But yeah, I mean, I'm in love with it. I just opened it like, oh yeah, this is, so the Fortune. But this is the one that had me freaked out, which was Justice. He has no head, but he has a sword going through his head.
Oh damn! At least his sword is balanced.
But yeah, they have a lot of different. I mean, I'll show it to you, but like the way they word things is just very different than the regular deck, and they based it off the witches, basically everything that witches would say. They said, you know, the old ways. But
I made a video on that Dark Mansion Tarot if you want to see all the cards she shoots.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up because I'm like, I've been wanting that deck for sure.
Let's see if I can.
But yeah, that's my newest deck. Is that one?
It's beautiful, man. I love it.
Oh yeah. I like decks. We all have something, but the thing is, you're gonna use them eventually.
Let me see if I can get it.
You must be hurting, Jazz.
I just fed him. He probably got a poop.
Oh, I feel
You gotta look this one up, Lynna. The Witch's Insurrection.
Uh-huh.
she basically did it to fight fascism, sexism, racism, some other stuff. So she doesn't have like, she calls them whores and something else. So instead of pages, she has like the Lady of Whores or something else like that. I have to look at it again, but it was interesting to supporting the cause. Let me see. Okay, not to keep blowing y'all up, but what about these decks that also say tarot deck and card game?
You can qualify to erase your
So I actually recently got one of those, and I'm waiting for it to come in. And it's called the Sin card game, but you can get it as a playing deck. And then I got a second one that was a tarot deck. So I don't know yet, because this is the first time I'm actually getting something that says tarot deck and card game.
Well, like I was saying, tarot was originally created as a game. It was created to be read that way. So I think, honestly, even we got people that read Uno cards. We have people that, I mean, we've been seeing lives where people literally are reading anything. Somebody even had an addiction, what do you call the cards to help you study? Subtraction addiction cards. She was doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was doing a live reading with it. And I mean, she was accurate. So honestly, if you're a reader, you can read anything. You literally can read anything. You just got to figure out where it's at. Oh, he's hurting. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off because it looks like Yoda needs some attention. But I love you guys. Thank you guys for talking to us, or at least contributing to it. And I'll see you guys later, okay?
See you later.
Bye. Did you want to go ahead and it's what?
Yeah, it's almost 10 o'clock, so where I'm at. So I'm going to wash up my face, lay down for the night.
Okay, I put the link to that video in the chat here, but I also sent it to you on Facebook. So
I definitely want to see the cards.
yeah.
So
I
will see you next week then.
All right, see you guys later. Love you bunches. Bye.